Welcome to the Michigan Runner Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
Hi, Carter Sherline from Michigan Runner News. And unfortunately, a few days ago, 3 days ago, Coach Bob Parks passed, which he was 90. And to say he was a legend in the running community is really an understatement. So I've asked someone who has known him for 58 years, another legend in the running community, Ron Warhurst, to come talk about his memories of Bob Parks. So, welcome, Ron.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so start at the beginning. Well, when you first met Coach Parks.
It was in 1963, and I had just transferred out to Western Michigan from a junior college in upstate New York. And strangely enough, back in those days, hitchhiking was a safe mode of transportation. So my roommate and I would hitchhike out to Western Michigan and spent the night in the YMCA. And then John Flaminio, a teammate at the time, came and picked us up and took us to our dorm. We were the first people that were in the dorm, and some of the fellows that will listen to this possibly will remember Schilling Hall was the Valley dorms at Western Michigan in Kalamazoo. Bob Parks was the first guy that registered me for classes. He was a master at figuring out scheduling for everybody. And George Dales trusted him, Coach Dales trusted him with getting everybody in the right classes at the right time. And I think that continued on to Eastern Michigan several years later. But Bob was our assistant coach, and he was in charge. George did most of the distance stuff, but Bob Parks had his hand in it as well. And he coached every event. He became a master coach in all of the events, actually. And then he left in and I believe it was January, the winter term of 1966. And he got the head job at Eastern Michigan, which was his alma mater. And so he was up there in January of 66. So George needed somebody to help him with the distance program. So the track program, but he told me I could work with the distance runner since I was on a cross country team. So I did that until the May of 67. And then Bob Parks called me up and said, "Ron, what are you doing next fall?" I said, "I don't have any plans just yet." And he said, "Would you like to come up to Eastern Michigan and help me get this program started?" I said, "I'd love to." So he put me in charge of the cross country and the distance programs, along with Al Pingle, who was there at the time. And we got up there in August, I believe, and I roomed with a young gentleman named Nick Ellis. No, I almost said Nick Willis. Nick Ellis, and he was an older guy that was a great Canadian runner. And back in those times, the NAIA, which they were a member of, Eastern Michigan was a member of that collegiate group. There wasn't many ages involved in restrictions. And we roomed with Sandy Herman, who is now presently Dr. Herman, who was a student manager there and became an assistant coach over the years. So Parks asked me to do that. And so then I spent a year there with him, and then I enlisted in the Marine Corps. But while I was at Western Michigan with Bob, he was always, he was a competitor in every aspect. He even had, I believe it was Sue, his daughter, or it might have been one of his sons, that set the Guinness Book World Records, I believe, for the mile time trial around the ping pong table in the basement. Bob came up with a lot of strange things, and he had some strange ideas about competition, but I never forget that one. You might want to ask Sue about that down the road. But he's a fantastic person. He loved track and field, but he loved his athletes as well. He just was, he's been fading the last couple of years, but he still had tremendous memory. I believe he sent out emails of people from 50 years ago that he coached and stories about him. He had stories that were unbelievable. And I think he's got a book out that probably just explains everything about all the people he worked with. Some really, really crazy, funny stories. He's a fantastic person, a great coach, and he'll be missed in the track communities.
Okay, and of course, then when you came to Michigan, he's just up the road, competing against you at that point.
Yeah, we had some heated battles. That's why he was a great. I was a competitor, I guess you could say, and it was going to be Eastern Michigan against West or against Michigan, and any place that Bob Parks would be, he didn't care. He was going to compete. He got his athletes prepared very well, and he had some fantastic athletes over there that competed against Michigan. We won our share, and they won their share. But in the long run, I think everybody was still pretty friendly with all the competitions as it transpired over the years.
Okay. Well, I know I've had a few opportunities to interview him and do stories about him, and that's been, like I said, quite an honor just to kind of be in his presence and be around when they renamed the track at Eastern and added his name to it. I got to cover that, and that was a phenomenal event. So definitely someone who, like I say, is going to be missed in the running community at all levels. So again, Ron, thank you for talking to us.
I'll say I'll say go Broncos, and I'll also say go Huron Eagles. I guess it was called now. It used to be Huron Indians, and then I'll say go Blue at the end.
All right.
I'll be waiting when I'm sure they're going to have a ceremony or service later in the spring when this COVID thing dies down, and a celebration of life. And I'll be looking forward to that because there'll be a lot of people there that I know that we've crossed paths over the years to celebrate Bob Parks's life.
Yes, I'm sure, and we'll be looking forward to that. Okay, well, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you. Thanks again.